All right, guys. Boom. I already did this intro once before. Look at that. 8.25 miles, 7:03 pace in the Skyward X. I told you guys I already did this intro once before. This shoe is undefeated. I have not had a bad run in this. Every time I step out in it, if I'm feeling beat up, tired, stressed, it just keeps going like a Larry June mixtape. Man, numbers, 100-mile review. We got 84 miles on this thing. I'll see you in a few days when it's up to 100, but we got a winner here, baby. Let's go. Okay, so the Skyward X here is now sitting at 85 miles. And over the past 2 weeks since I got it, this was actually the first shoe I ran in after my marathon. So two or 3 days after that race, this thing showed up on my doorstep and I was ripping in it. And so every single time I've laced these things up through these 85 miles, I have had a quality run. I think there's only been really one run. And it was when I did the stroller run and I was completely just burnt. These stroller runs, getting back to them after the marathon, it's always tough. And so I do them, this is the second run of the day. My son's 2 now, so he weighs, I don't know, he's a big boy. He weighs probably 30 pounds or something. We got a lot of elevation gain, and so my legs are sometimes a little bit beat up at that point, and that was really the only bad run, or not even bad, only challenging run I've had in the shoe. And the reason I say challenging run is because every time I put these things on, it just makes it feel so easy to run, so enjoyable. And you look at it and you'd see how much stack it has down here, and you might think that it's just a slow cruiser, even with the plate and the people, but that's not the case at all. It's the same way that a lot of people have described the Adidas Prime X Strung or the Superblast 2. These higher stacked shoes that have the racing foams in them. Some of them have plates, some of them don't, but they're designed not just to go out there and plod along like you might do with an Asics Gel Nimbus or a New Balance 1080 V13 or the Fresh Foam More. They're designed to keep you comfortable and add a little bit of speed assistance to those miles. And of all the shoes that I've tried in this category, this has been the one I keep coming back to and keep loving. It's almost like the opposite thing with the Superblast, where every time I laced that shoe up for the first few minutes, it felt good, but I couldn't really, nothing about it stuck out to me. It wasn't begging me to reach for it again. And I know a lot of people love the Superblast, but that shoe just didn't hit for me in the same way that this one does. And at 85 miles now, so I am super excited to get this up to 100 either today or tomorrow. Well, by the time you're watching it, it'll be today because it's the 100-mile review, bro. But I might have something else coming in. I overnighted something it's hot on the streets right now, so I'm hoping we can get that one in today. But if not, I'll be getting 15 to 16 miles on this today to close it out for 100. But right now, we're getting a smooth little 6-piece in the morning, just nice, relaxed, aerobic run, whatever pace comes to us. It's not a workout. Just get some mileage in, and then we'll do another 10 later today, or later today we'll do 10 in that secret shoe, that fire shoe that we're going to get in here. But either way, 100-mile review, Skyward X, let's go, baby. Alright, so I ended up only getting, 5 something. Yeah, 5:59 at a 6:53 pace because our friend's here to help fix the drywall. So we'll get the other 10 later. But that puts us at 90 miles in the Skyward X. You'll be happy to know, or not happy to know, because I think people are actively rooting against the shoe for some reason. But still undefeated, baby. The most underrated, the most hated, the least touted, the least clouded Hoka Skyward X, baby. Yeah, this thing is an absolute tank. And Hoka hasn't really been able to crack the plated trainer segment. The Mach X did a nice job in that speed training segment, but the Bondi X, I had that shoe, and it was not a good shoe. All right, our homie's coming. Hold on. All right, guys, I had to take the shoes off inside because we were moving stuff. But shout out to my man YG Home and Florin putting in work in the Under Armour. Let's go. But 90 miles now on the Skyward X. Let's do the breakdown in the overview right now of the shoe, and then I'll close it out later with some final thoughts after we get that 10-mile run. But let's do it. All right, I had to go inside to get my hoodie on and my hat and everything, but now we're good. And slug watch today, I think we're slug-free. Let's go. So overview of the Skyward X here. So this is a max cushioned marathon training shoe. You have almost 50 millimeters of stack here in the heel, which is the main draw of this shoe. That's what makes it different from a lot of the other marathon training shoes designed for both speed and comfort. And we got to get a close-up look at the stack because it is absolutely huge. And so with this category of shoes, you have the Asics Superblast, you have the On Cloudmonster Hyper. This is the one that's hit for me the most so far, and I'm not sure if it's because of the massive stack or the way that the midsole is set up, but I think both of those things are contributing to the comfort. And so you do have two different types of foam here, and I showed an exploded picture of the shoe, so a picture where you could see all of the elements vertically stacked, and on the top layer you have PIBA, which is the racing foam that's going to be in the Cielo X1 and the Rocket X2, and then the bottom layer and this whole cradle you can see on the outside, this is the same supercritical EVA that's in the Mach 6. So this shoe it's super similar in feel actually to the Mach 6 with how the bottom of it is structured. It has a nice rocker, so that's the curvature on the bottom here that rolls you along, but unlike the Mach 6, there's absolutely no issue with the foam feeling flat or compressing, and that wasn't a huge issue I had in the Mach 6, but it is something to note about that shoe. It is on the lighter side, and the way that they've engineered that foam is to be light and bouncy, not necessarily structured and supportive like this guy. And so that's the beauty of the Skyward X. They blend speed and having a bouncy, fast midsole setup. You also get the carbon fiber plate in the middle here, so full length plate, which you can see on the outside, but they blend that with stability and support. And that's one of the main trends we're seeing both in training shoes right now and in racing shoes. The shoe designers know that us hobby joggers out here, right, we're not all 125 pounds. I was reading a running nutrition book last night, and it said the average weight for elite marathon men is 125. I am 160 and extremely healthy. I'm on the lower, probably the lowest BMI for my height. I don't think I could get, I wouldn't want to drop much more weight. Maybe I could get down to 150 and be ripping off 220s, baby. But that's all to say, these shoe designers know that us hobby joggers like a little bit more extra support and comfort, and that's why we have such a girthy back end here, which you can see is going to provide a ton of support. So this is a very stable shoe, makes it really easy to run. There's no wobbling around at all, which is really nice. And let me actually go grab the Mach 6 so I can show you just a normal training shoe versus this, what the difference is. Hold on. All right, so I have the Hoka Mach 6 here. Let's take a look. So Mach 6 has been one of my favorite daily trainers, so one of my favorite shoes for just everyday miles. But it's funny because during this cycle of training that I'm in right now, I'm running high mileage and I'm running it fast. So you saw this morning we were 650. Yesterday that run that we closed out was a 7 flat. So I'm trying to run my miles a little bit closer to between 6:30 and 7:30 versus last block. It was more like between 7:15 and 8:15, which was very relaxed. My average heart rate was probably, and I don't train by average heart rate, but just to let you guys know, it was probably 130s for a lot of my aerobic runs, 140s. I'm trying to push it, and it's good to train like that more conservatively if you don't want to get injured. But now we're in a little bit of a daredevil phase. I'm like the Evil Knievel of running. Maybe that's what I should have called this shoe, Evil Knievel. It's got the colorway and everything. But point being, this is a daily trainer. This is what's considered a standard running shoe versus this. It's not really considered a shoe that most people would run in every day. But for me, doing 100 miles a week with some more speed in there, I'm loving this shoe. But I wanted to compare the width. And let's take a look. Bada boom. Skyward X versus Mach 6. Yeah, and you can see the Skyward X just in terms of how much foam you're getting on the bottom here. And let's get the perfect view from the back. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. So Skyward X is a lot taller, and you got probably half an inch more width. It's not actually noticeable on the very bottom, but if you look at up closer to the foot, you can see that it's really noticeable. And so another one of the things that they did with both the Skyward X and the Mach 6, Hoka used to have this rear overhang out in the back. They got rid of that. So there's no more caboose on either of these shoes. And I was a little bit concerned that would make it awkward to land for more relaxed miles closer to the heel or midfoot, but it doesn't, because on the Skyward X here and on the Mach 6 too, but you got this really nice curve up here, which makes this a super smooth ride. So smooth ride, 2 types of midsole foam in here with the carbon fiber plate. We do have to address the issue. Many of you came here. I guarantee there's 10 comments already about this. It's a brick. It's heavy. All right, let's do the weight. I don't always do the weigh-in in the 100-mile review. I usually only do this in the first run review, but I want to show you the weight difference because it is huge. So the right shoe here is 335 grams, and let's compare that to the Mach 6. That is 234 grams. That is massive. There's a 100-gram difference between these two shoes. However, it's not all about the weight. And let me show you something, guys. I had a bit planned. For you all, and I'm not going to do the bit. I'll just tell you what it was going to be. So if you come over here, come with me. Come. Look at this. Oh, we got the scooter in front of the Jeep. Man, these kids these days, huh? All right. So look at this. If I were to drive the kids to school, would I go for that Jeep because it's lighter? Or would I go for my Jeep because you can fit everybody in it? And that was the bit. It was going to be a lot more planned out. I was going to put the Superblast on the pink Jeep. It was going to be really funny. But if you guys have watched the channel, you know that I talk about trade-offs a lot. And the trade-off of a heavier weight with the shoe like the Skyward X is that this isn't just a heavier weight because they decided to use a standard EVA foam or something that's going to be super brickish to run in. It's a heavier weight because they packed this with a nice supportive foam that gives a lot of bounce. And so like a Jeep, right? It might be heavier than a toy car, but you're getting more room. You're getting a bigger engine. You're getting bigger tires to do some off-roading, whatever it is. The headline is you're getting more function. So this shoe has upgraded function to something like the Mach 6 or even to something like the Asics Superblast, which I would put a little bit closer to the Hoka Mach 6 in terms of what that shoe is offering versus the Skyward X. So this thing is an absolute tank. I've taken it up to 2 hours. Today was probably the shortest run I did in it, 6 miles. Felt great for that. It's felt great for every single run because the foam is nice and bouncy. You get some pep in here and you get this rock and roll feeling. So the midsole is A1. That's definitely the highlight of the shoe, the midsole, the stability, the underfoot feel. But heading up to the upper, this is also a pretty comfortable area of the shoe. I do think, though, and my girl Jay Genius, she was asking me about how is this shoe going to feel in the summer. I think she's also based out here in the Carolinas. And I have to say, I took it up to 80 degrees. It's not the best. It's not the worst. Again, compared to the Mach 6 here, look how breathable this is. This is an engineered mesh sort of situation, and it looks like they designed this to be super lightweight. This guy has more of a grandmother's sweater. It's that coastal grandma vibe. It's not super lightweight, but that's not what Hoka was going for with the shoe, and I pointed that out in the first run review. They know exactly what the shoe is. It's not designed to be a lightweight speed training shoe or a lightweight short distance shoe like the Mach 6. It's a long distance shoe designed for comfort over 2+ hours if needed. So they built a ton of comfort into this upper, super padded out here in the back, nice and supportive. You even get a plastic heel cup around the back here, and I think this is actually the first time I'm noticing that it's plastic, so it is super solid. It's almost like that Saucony Endorphin Shift 3 where you get a nice amount of support out here in the upper as well as that width of the foam. And then in the front here we have a decent amount of space. Let me actually just pop this on real quick so we can get an on-foot live analysis. Bada boom, bada bing. I'm wearing the OS First socks today. So yeah, foot is in here. Let's check. It's going. This is a 10.5. It's going up to here. And we do have to do this just to show you guys. Let's compare it to the Mach 6. Hold on, I'm gonna have to tie this. Now, it's funny because somebody accused me, well, they said, these professional reviewers are shilling hard for Hoka, for the Skyward X. So I guess they called me a shill for the Skyward X. And let me tell you guys, I can show you all the shoes I have in that office there. Not to flex. It's not to flex, but it's to say we got a lot of options because we put in the work and grinded to get all those options, and I paid a lot of money for some of those shoes, and now, yes, some of the brands are sending me shoes. But in the case of the Mach 6 here, Hoka said they were going to send it to me, and then it showed up a little late, or it didn't come, and I said, you know what? I want to be the first to review the Mach 6, so I'm going to go out to Charlotte Running Company and buy this pair with my own money. And if that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. I will speak my mind about these shoes. If they send them to me, that's great. If they don't, we're going to make it work, man. I got credit cards. Business is starting to earn a little bit of money, but we'll get levered up and buy every shoe on the market if we need to. But the reason I wanted to put both of these shoes on here, and this is the reason that I have not run in the Mach 6 a lot, and why it's not up to 100 miles yet, and why I went on that whole diatribe about the brand, is because, yes, I did call out Hoka for their terrible sizing on the Mach 6. This is also a 10.5. Look at this. 10.5. Can you see that? Trust me. Well, I don't know if you can trust me. You can't trust this guy. It's a 10.5 US. And my toe is all the way, it's outside of the toe box here. Versus Skyward X, we get almost a half an inch, and it's also a 10.5. And Hoka did send me another pair of the Mach 6, which I sent to somebody else, one of my friends out here on the channel. But they sent me another pair of this in 10.5. And it fit perfectly, fit similarly to the Skyward X. So something weird is going on in Vietnam, in the Hoka factory. They need to figure it out because this is bad for consumers. I don't like when things are bad for consumers. So sizing of the Mach 6 is super weird. Sizing of the Skyward X is right on point, and just having the shoe on my foot, let me put on my, man, I guess I do look like a Hoka shill. I just have a lot of Hoka products. These Orlock slides are the best, but having the shoe on foot, the comfort of it is just top notch. It's not going to be like a New Balance 1080 V13 where you get that super soft upper and the super soft underfoot foam, but it just fits nicely. There's padding everywhere that you need it, around the back, on the tongue. There's absolutely no feeling of the laces being too tight. Again, because, let me see, grabbing the shoe here, the tongue is almost in half an inch thick or something. So yeah, you're getting some additional weight from that, but it's a really comfortable experience on foot. And then the toe box, this is one of the weaknesses. I think the only weakness of the upper, let me put this on, from a comfort point of view, is that I have a decently wide, or I don't know if it's decently wide, I have a standard to maybe a touch wide foot, and it fits almost like a Saucony right here on the left outside. I do feel a little bit of that tightness, but as I warm up into the run, it's not all that bad. So that is just something to note. I think they're gonna make the shoe in a wide. I'll confirm, but in the standard width, it is gonna be a touch narrow if you have a wide foot. So that's something to consider. All right, now let me pop these off because let's talk about one of the most important things with the 100-mile review, which is going to be the outsole. But I guess the last thing I did want to say to answer my friend Jay Genius, her questions was the upper. It might get a little hot in the summer because of how much material you have up here, but up to 80 degrees so far, and that wasn't a huge issue. I do think Mach 6 is going to perform better in the summer in terms of on-foot comfort, but I didn't have any issues with my foot heating up or feeling uncomfortable in this. And the other thing I was gonna say, man, I just keep going on these tangents. With the thing about having all the shoes is that I have a lot of choice, and I don't bring everything up to 100 miles these days. So if I bring something up to 100 miles, that means I'm really loving it. I vote with my miles, and this thing has been sweet so far. One of my favorite marathon training shoes of the year. So heading down to the outsole, let's talk through some durability.
Selling the shoes?
No, I review shoes online.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I review the running shoes. I make videos about them and everything.
Alright guys, we are back after a brief intermission. You know I had to pull up in that Oxford. Bang. Because it's the first Friday back at work. But let's talk through some durability of the Skyward X here. And I just want to show you the outsole wear so we can get a little bit of an early read on how durable this shoe is going to be. And by the way, hold on. I also did want to give a shout out to my guy who's doing our drywall today. If you are in South Charlotte and you need any handyman services, YG Home Repair. This guy's an absolute beast. He comes in, he knocks it out, he puts in the work. Absolute savage. So that's the number right there. Give him a call, give him a text. Cabinet, flooring, trim work, carpentry, everything you need. But durability, let's talk through it. So take a look at this outsole here. 90 miles, and I'll show you again after we hit 100 miles, but we are seeing some wear on the back area here. This is the heel striking area. Heel strikers are the most superior types of runners on the planet. No, I'm just kidding. But it's not bad to heel strike. It doesn't pose an injury risk. We pulled out the textbook and showed you guys yesterday. And also, landing closer to the heel does not mean that you're losing efficiency for distance running. But yeah, that is my highest wear area, and it just triggers me when people are spreading fake news. So that's why we got to talk about it. And you can see we are starting to see some wear here. So we flattened out all of the texture on the back, but I think, and let's take a look, they gave us a pretty thick layer of rubber here, so I think it will hold up pretty well, and I'm definitely going to get this guy to 200 because I just love running on this shoe. So we'll get more insights there, but I'm not too concerned with durability here. At 100 miles, it feels the same, or at 90 miles, it feels the same as it did at 0. It's definitely not losing any pop or any bounce at this 90 or 100 mile mark. And the rubber in the front, yeah, holding up really well. And then let's take a look at the exposed foam. You can see some of the exposed foam are starting to come off, some of this on the inside of the shoe. But I think this is going to be a pretty durable shoe. You get the plate in there, and for me, some of these shoes with plates tend to have a little bit better durability. At least the shoes with the carbon fiber plate or carbon rods or glass rods, any shoe that's not the plastic plate tends to hold up pretty well. Boston 12 with the rods. Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 with the plate, even though the foam is losing a little bit of juice, the plate makes it feel a little bit peppier through the life. So I do think that this guy will hold up no problem to 300 miles, which for me is the target. We'll definitely be getting it up to 200 to see how it does. Now, in terms of the grippiness of the rubber, so I haven't taken the Skyward X out in the rain much. I think actually the first run I did in it was a little bit of rain and wet, and it was okay, but I have taken the Mach 6 out in the rain, and they're using the same type of rubber across all of the Hoka shoes this year, I believe, and this rubber did pretty well in the rain. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't horrible. We did do the comparison with this and the Skyward X, and they were both just okay. Now I'm remembering the Skyward X first run, it was just okay. So it's not going to be as good as the Adidas and the Puma. We always got to shout those out as the top dogs for rubber, but it's going to be solid. I don't anticipate you'll be slipping and sliding around, but you're also not going to be super sure-footed with it and cruising through terrible rainstorms. But the other reason I want to show the Mach 6 is because look at this guy, $140 shoe. They didn't put any rubber on the back here for heel strikers versus Skyward X, we get some rubber coverage. So I really do think this is going to be a nice durable shoe at 100 miles. Still looks great, or 90 miles, sorry. Still looks great, still feels great. Maybe this last 10 miles we do is just going to completely blow up the shoe. You'll have to wait and see. But at 90, still holding pretty strong, and I anticipate we'll get some good life out of this shoe. So last thing I want to do, lace it up for one more run later today or tomorrow if that super secret shoe comes in. And then I want to talk you through who I think this shoe is going to be best for, and then some alternatives to this shoe because it is $225. So we'll get into a little bit of that value equation there, and then also how it compares to some of those other shoes on the market at the price of 200 plus, and also some cheaper shoes too that might compete with this guy. So I'll see you in a bit. a little work action, but I wanted to show you this because I know everybody's talking about the looks of the shoe. Hold on, let me make sure the lighting is perfect. Bang. So everyone's talking about the look of the shoe. I actually think the woman's colorway is way more fire. I love this blue with the orange, the light blue with that nice tangerine. That's a good looking colorway. I would wear this. I don't mind the white, the red, white, and blue version that we do have, but the women's, yeah, this color combination is just elite. The men's it's okay. I don't mind it. My girl, Katrina Tucker, she said it looks like a Carnival cruise ship, and I have to agree with how big it is, plus the red, white, and blue is definitely a yacht vibe. And it rides like a luxury speed yacht too. Right. I'm going to go finish this lunch, and then we're going to knock out the 100-mile review today. I'm just committing to it. 100-mile review, we're going to knock it out. Tomorrow we'll hit you with the new shoe. So as you guys know, I read every single comment on the channel, the good ones and the not so good ones. And some of the comments, they do get in my head. Like when my friend Mr. Gile, told me that I was eating hot bread because I wasn't toasting it properly. And now look at this. Perfectly golden brown bagel toasted for our lunch. And another comment I got today that I've been thinking about is someone commented that it's going to be hard for me to put miles in everything because we got so much inventory right now. And I did want to talk to you guys about that. I addressed it in the Cloud Eclipse video, or I forget if it was the Cloud Eclipse or the Ride 17 last week or 2 weeks ago, but it's a little bit of a balance right now between wanting to test a wide swath of what's on the market and then also going deep on a few select shoes. So I'm not going to be doing 300-mile reviews of every shoe that comes in. I probably won't be doing all that many 300-mile reviews at all. And the reality of the situation, guys, is, I mean, you see the work that I put in every day. I love doing this, but I also got to compete. And so to compete, I got to test all the shoes. I got to cover all the shoes. And also, it's not just competing with the other guys. It's making sure I can be the best shoe analyst that I can be. So that means running in basically everything, so I have as many reference points as possible. And then really the biggest benefit of putting 100 to 300 miles on a shoe is testing the durability, testing how the foam evolves over time. By doing that with one or two shoes in every brand's lineup, we can test out the technology. How does the foam evolve over time? How does the rubber that the brand uses evolve over time? So got the Novoblast 4 up to 100. Now we have a good sense of how that rubber performs, and that's a super durable rubber. Asics has some great durability. So that's the plan for this year. The plan is not, and someone was asking me, what is my goal with this, man? I'm not trying to be an influencer. I want to be out here, Charlotte, North Carolina, putting in as many miles as possible, whether I run in 10 shoes a year or 110 shoes a year. I'm all about the mileage. I'm all about the training. I'm all about putting in the work. The shoes are just a way for me to talk about running in a fun way for you guys. And that's really the goal here. The goal is not to be like, let me say this, man, the goal is not to be gallivanting around Europe paid for by the shoe brands. And so I'm going to cover as many shoes as possible to reach as many people as possible that connect with the message, and that's one of the ways we can do it. And so that's what we're committed to right now. Man, you guys got me fired up. And yeah, man, I'm not trying to even be the biggest out. I don't need to be the biggest out. I'm not trying to be, in rap terms, man, I'm not trying to be Drake. You guys know who Currency is? If you don't know Currency, the rapper, look up Currency. Listen to the Covert Coup album with him, Covert Coup, when it's like when you overthrow the government. Him and The Alchemist, who's one of the best hip-hop producers of all time, my favorite hip-hop producer. Listen to Covert Coup, came out in 2011. It sounds as fresh as ever. So not only is Currency timeless, he puts in the work. He releases, 5 projects per year, probably 2 to 5 projects per year for the past 15 years. He's completely independent. He posts up in New Orleans with his cars, with his dogs, just doing his thing. And that's the goal, baby. I want to just put in as many miles as possible out here in the Carolina burbs, connect with as many runners as possible, read all your comments, respond to them. I'm not trying to be the next big influencer and sell you guys a bunch of random products that we don't really need. Now, we are going to get some cool partnerships and sponsorships, and that's actually why I was thinking about what the goals are with the channel, because my friend now, one of my friends is helping me out trying to get some sponsors. It's not going to be a shoe brand, and it's not going to be a random supplement company that I don't use. Everything needs to be aligned to the mission. So that's a little update from Subwell Kitchen here. This is what we're eating for lunch. And again, you guys know, right? I like to balance the convenient foods, the processed foods. So we got the processed buffalo chicken patty here. Of course, this is going to be processed, the vegan mayo. Throw some greens on top. But I like to balance the convenient, processed, simple foods for lunch with some more whole foods for dinner. And if I were doing this full time, if I were a professional runner, I'd probably be eating rice, tofu, sweet potatoes, broccoli for lunch every day, trying to go for more whole foods. But this is what I can conveniently eat that's decently healthy, has the right macros, and make sure I'm fueled. So I'm going to throw some greens on this, and then I'll see you guys for 100-mile review to close it out. All right, guys, a little raw spinach right here. Just throw some of that on. Let's see. Bang. 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 All right, look at that. So that's lunch right there. We got the 2 everything bagel sandwiches. These bagels are from Family Dough, by the way, right down the street here in Mint Hill. Best bagels in Charlotte. These guys moved from New York and set up the shop about maybe a year and a half ago, and is absolute fire. If you ever had Poppy's Bagels, that was my previous favorite bagel shop. That's closer to the Myers Park area, but this is out here in South Charlotte. Just a banger. We got the vegan mayo. We got the avocado. We got the raw spinach, and then the buffalo chicken patty from Morningstar. I'm going to eat this and grind, and then I'll see you for the second run. All right, 228, just grinding a little bit till we can get that second run, and healthy snack. So we got sweet potatoes, tempeh, broccoli, little leftovers from Charles, and look at this. Boom, I'll show you this later, but first check from Running Warehouse. This is why we put in the work. First check from Running Warehouse. It's not very big, I already know that, but it's something. Gotta keep grinding, man. Let's go. All right, guys, 3:38. Probably finished a little bit earlier today because it's Friday, heading out. But I want to get in some pre-run fuel. We're going to do the tailwind because I'm having a hard time adjusting back to these doubles and figuring out how much food I need. So I want to make sure that I'm fueled up for this, because doing these doubles and not being properly fueled is pretty rough. So I'm thinking just a little bit extra carbs here in the stomach will help make this a little bit easier here. Knock out these last 10 miles. So I'm going to do 1 scoop of the raspberry caffeinated. I would usually just do 2 scoops of this, but I don't want to be extremely jacked up because I did have a big cup of that Colombian coffee earlier. Shout out to Black and White Coffee Roasters. So I'm going to do 1 scoop of the raspberry caffeinated, and then the berry, this is not caffeinated. So, bada boom. Man, the berry one just, I don't know, the smell of it, I think I just drank it too much, so we're just gonna knock this out quickly. And there's the FedEx truck, but not coming for us today, unfortunately. Alright, guys, 1 sip, everybody knows the rules. Man, it's just so sweet. All right, I gotta get my run clothes on. All right, guys, almost time to go, but I want to show you this. So this is our first ever check. Supwell Incorporated. We made $654. Now, that's not nothing, but you guys know how much shoes cost to test. So Q1 2024, our first check. It's just pretty cool that I've been doing this. It's our first check after a year, but we've been doing this consistently, and it's not nothing. It's something. So, man, the reason I'm showing you this is, again, it's not to flex. $654. If you have kids, you know that's not a flex. But it's to show you, man, you can make something. This is my company, which I created. You can make something out of nothing. And so we got a little something here that we're starting. I appreciate all you guys. So time to get our last run in the Skyward X. Not our last run of the year, because I want to take this thing up to I don't know how many miles, but this is going to be one of our high mileage eaters. But our last run to get this up to 100, 10 more miles. Might take one more sip of this disgusting concoction here. Hold on. Okay.
Alright guys, last run in the Skyward X that we need to get it up to 100 miles. 10-mile afternoon run. I usually do my important run, so my workout for the day or the longest run in the morning, and then treat the afternoon as just whatever extra mileage I want to get for the week. That's reverse to how I know a lot of elites and especially college runners, they'll do their easy miles in the morning and then their workouts in the afternoon. But I think for us hobby joggers here, getting in the hard miles in the morning just makes it a little bit easier. And then when you have all the stress of the day, you don't have to also worry about, man, I gotta rip off a 12-miler after work, or I gotta hold on to 8 miles of marathon pace after I change 17 poopy diapers. So I like doing it a little bit better this way. Let me know, for those of you who do double, or even if you do just one run per day, do you like getting your run in before work or after work? I think we gotta, willpower is a finite resource. So if we can do the hardest thing in the morning, also the thing that's gonna make us feel the best, for me this is like medicine, so getting it out of the way first, that just sets me up for success. But alright, let's do this. Skyward X last run.
All right, guys, 100 miles in the books. Bang. We got 10 miles, 10.28 miles at a 6:58 pace, 1 hour, 11 minutes, 41 seconds. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, still undefeated. Man, these things are just cooking. So let's pop these off, do a final breakdown on who they're best for, and then I'm going to provide some alternative options because $225 is a lot of money. I understand that.
So I think the main benefit of how tall this stack is and how much foam you get is it is a very consistent ride. It feels the same at mile 0, stepping out here, just putting them on before we go run, as it does at mile 10, mile 16. I never really felt a huge difference in anything. And just look at this. I do see one little piece of damage here in the foam. I think that's the only little damage after 100 miles. It looks mostly cosmetic. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. But yeah, the shoe didn't really change at all. And I think with lower stack shoes like the Rebel V4, and look at this, some of the paint actually is rubbing off on the inside too after 100 miles. So that looks like really it. The only real damage. And quick outsole check after 100 miles. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same as it did this morning at, 90 miles. Yep, pretty much the same. A little bit of the cosmetic wear on the foam, but still in really good shape. And because you get so much stack down here, man, it's going to be hard for this thing to tire. The only thing that'll make it tire is the weight. But let's go do this final breakdown.
Alright guys, 100 miles in the Hoka Skyward X, and it has been 100 miles of pure joy. By the way, I had to step out today in the clip art shirt to match this beautiful colorway of the Skyward X. Shout out to my guy Sean, by the way, for reminding me what clip art was. I was racking my brain trying to figure out what this shirt reminded me of, but Microsoft Paint clip art. And I apologize to everyone out there who is still using Microsoft technology in their daily workflow. My guy Vinny B yesterday or this morning told me in a comment on the Saucony Endorphin Elite video that he is a Microsoft Teams user. So if you see Vinny B, give him a pat on the shoulder, give him a pat on the back. I'm really sorry for you. Anyway, Skyward X here. This is an amazing shoe for where I am in training right now and for my style of running right now, running faster, running high mileage, putting in the work every day. This shoe has kept my legs feeling pretty fresh through a hard week of running, and this wasn't a 100-mile week test. I didn't do every single one of my last 100 miles in the shoe. I did a 22-mile long run in the Alpha Fly. I've tested the Endorphin Elite. I've done a ton of other testing this week, but I did do a double day in the shoe on Tuesday. I did a double day today, and I had a double yesterday where I used this for the second run. So we've done some solid high mileage in the shoe, probably, I don't know, 60 miles. I think, yeah, about 60 miles at least in the past week in the shoe, and it's held up really well. So if you are looking for a shoe for high mileage, for consistently running over 45 minutes or over an hour with some faster pace in there, it's an old Nissan Pathfinder, that's fire. But if you are running consistently over 45, over an hour with some faster pace, I don't think there's a better shoe on the market for that. Now, think about a shoe like the Asics Blast 4, which I'll pull out actually in the alternative section. That's gonna be a good option if you're doing some more relaxed miles over 45 minutes or over an hour. But this thing with the carbon fiber plate, with the PIBA foam, it's amazing for running in that steady zone. And so earlier this year, we tested the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4, and that was a shoe where I couldn't quite figure out where it fit in the rotation. I couldn't figure out if it was good for steady miles or it was more of a daily trainer masquerading as a speed shoe, that's an SAT word for you, or if it were just, I don't know, a workout shoe or a higher stack marathon training shoe. I could not figure it out. And I'm of the mind right now that if you're gonna go for something, you gotta go for it 100%. And Saucony has lost their way a little bit with the Endorphin Speed franchise. The Endorphin Pro is still a great shoe, but the Endorphin Speed pioneered this plated training shoe segment, and it's now lagging behind a lot of the market. This captures the essence of what a lot of people loved about the Endorphin Speed 2, which is that it's a shoe you could take out for any type of run, and I feel the same way about the Hoka Skyward X here. And of course, the weight is gonna come up again. The weight. Yes, it's a heavy shoe. There's nothing that I can say in this video to change that it's a heavy shoe, 333 grams, but I think that might be lucky. 333, 3 is a lucky number. So yes, it's a heavy shoe, but for me at 6'2", running a lot of 650 miles right now, running a lot of 630 miles in the shoe, I think I was dishing at 625 pace for about 6 or 7 miles on Monday. I'll try to dig that run up and throw it somewhere up here, but running at this sub 7-minute pace in the shoe, I didn't mind the weight because I was getting a ton of bounce and a ton of pop. So if you are a bigger, more powerful runner, I think you'll really benefit from all the additional cushion, the additional stability, the additional support. It is not gonna bottom out, and it's gonna give you a ton of rock and roll. So this is now up there with the Adidas Boston 12. That's why I did a little foreshadowing earlier. I don't know if anybody caught that. Foreshadowing, it's when you suggest something that might happen in the future. When I was zooming in on that beautiful blue Boston 12 that we got up to 300 a few weeks ago, that thing is no longer sitting on the throne. Hoka Skyward X This guy is occupying the marathon training throne in 2024. This is now my favorite marathon training shoe. If I could only have one shoe to run in, I would choose the Skyward X. This is gonna be a little bit of a hard goodbye for me, because now we gotta test other shoes. I'm gonna have to put this to the side as we get some more things in here. And of course, I'm gonna mix in some lower stack shoes, Rebel V4 again, and go back to the Vomero and some of these other daily trainers, because I don't know if it's that great to run in this all the time. But for one cycle, you're gonna buy the shoe, $225, man. Put as many miles on it as you want for one cycle. I'm really curious to see how this will do past 300 miles. And I know with the requirements of this channel right now that I'm putting on myself to get the broadest swath of insights on the market, I know I'm not going to be able to get this past 300 anytime soon. So for everyone out there who is planning to buy the shoe, by the way, please do that through my Running Warehouse link. You saw we made $654, so not a lot of money, but if you are planning to buy the shoe, please do it through my Running Warehouse link. That will help support the channel. In addition to you watching this video, we also make money through Google Ads, which is super nice. And oh, by the way, again, another tangent, planned, what did my lacrosse coach used to say? Planned diversion. Now I was forgetting what the planned diversion was. Ads. Oh, YouTube Premium. If you get the YouTube Premium subscription, which will delete the ads, you don't have to watch the ads at all. And I know a lot of people like that for running. They listen to the videos like a podcast. Whatever your monthly subscription is, I think it's $10 or something, some of that will go to the channels you watch. So me and whoever else you watch out there, it will go to help support us as well, but mostly me. Just watch me. You don't need to watch anyone else except Andrew. Go watch Midlife Runner. I love Andrew's channel as well. So you can watch me and him with your YouTube Premium subscription. But if you're going to buy the shoe, my initial point was, let me know how it does past 100 miles, past 200, past 300. I'm definitely going to get this to 200 at some point. The next shoe that I want to get to 200 is the Rebel V4. So we're going to have to figure out how we get shoes to 200 now. It's a new frontier because we're testing a lot of things. And I appreciate everyone sticking with me as we work out our methodology for what we bring in, what we test, and how we serve up insights. But that is all to say, awesome shoe at $225. It's a better value to me than the Superblast, and that is to me. Please don't come at me, Superblast fanboys, but to me, because with the Superblast, I was expecting that I could use it for every type of run. With this shoe, I really can, and it feels great for every type of run. I did 9-minute miles with my friend Cam up in Harrisburg, and of course, we've been dishing at 630, 650, and low sixes in the shoe, and it's felt great for all that. So I think if you're looking for a shoe for higher mileage, long runs, daily training, you want a good value shoe that you can use for everything, that's going to be the Hoka Skyward X here. I do think maybe $200, they could have sold it for $200, but I'm not going to complain. There is an element here where if you want to be on the throne, if you want to be the best, you got to price your shoes. Unfortunately, this is just how our brain works as humans. Unfortunately, you have to price it higher than everyone else. That's what they're doing here. They're saying we're better than the Superblast because we're more expensive. I don't know if I agree with it, and if you don't agree with it, don't buy the shoe. And I promise you, if no one watching this video buys the shoe and no one else out there buys the shoe, I promise you Hoka will drop the price. So if you don't want to buy it for $225, don't start a petition or something, and if no one buys it, they'll drop the price down to $200 or $180. Honda Accord, I don't have any analysis about a Honda. It's like the Nike Pegasus of sedans. I guess sedans are kind of like the Nike Pegasus of cars. Anyway, let's go dive into some alternatives up there, because I know $225, that's a grip, bro.
I think this might be the first review I've done where I really don't have anything bad to say about the shoe. I mean, other than the weight, and if I didn't know it weighed this much, I don't think I would be able to tell from how it rides on foot. But let's go serve up some alternatives here for you guys. Bang! We prepared, man. Look at that. It's ready and waiting. All right, guys, so alternatives here. First, I will go with one of the shoes here that is a favorite for me still, SC Trainer V2. I need to do the 100-mile review on this guy soon, but great for long runs. It's going to be a little bit lighter than that Skyward X, and also $40 less expensive, and they do put this thing on sale a good bit, so you could probably find it for 150. I actually got my pair, I think, for 145. So it has a nice soft ride, similar to the Skyward X in that it is really comfortable, probably a little bit softer. The foam compresses a little bit more, but decent stability out here in the back. I do think the underfoot comfort of the Skyward X is a little bit better just in terms of the heel here. Some people have complained or reported complaints. I'm not going to call you guys complainers, but some people have told me that they can feel the plate a little bit up near the heel. And in the Skyward X, that does not ride like a plated shoe in that you cannot feel the plate underfoot at all. So if you want something that's comfortable for long miles, fun, bouncy, also a plate in it, that's the SC Trainer V2. Now, we're going to do a little bit of speed round here. If you want something great for longer miles, but a lot more affordable, Nova Blast 4 here. I don't love it as much for faster miles. So if I were going to be doing the same style of training I'm doing right now, where we're picking up the pace more, getting down to 650, 630, I would prefer the Skyward X. This, for me, feels a little bit better cruising at slower paces, but it is very protective. You do get a little bit of a nice bounce and pop up here. Actually, the rubber is horrible, so that's a downside, but very stable again. One of the widest neutral running shoes, so one of the widest shoes that's not designed to be an explicit stability shoe, but a super comfortable fit. The upper, it's got lots of padding, so this is the best non-plated shoe that I've tested for long runs. It's my favorite non-plated shoe for long runs that's come out recently. Saucony Triumph is also good, but this thing has a little bit more stability. So this would be the non-plated alternative for some longer miles. And then last alternative here, let's move these shoes out of the way. Nike Invincible 3. This is a really fun shoe. Like the Skyward X, it's got some bounce to it. It's got some pop. It's got the full race foam, full ZoomX. So it is a really unbridled experience where it's a little bit hard to control for me at some paces, and I don't love it for recovery. It's not as versatile as the Skyward X, and it leans a little bit kind of like the Skyward X where it feels great going fast, but it leans a little bit more to the fast end of the spectrum. So if you want something for moderate runs and medium runs, so around an hour is where I've really loved this shoe, 45 minutes to an hour. It's a nice daily trainer with a fun feel, and you can find this on sale a lot. So I think you can probably find it for $130 right now. So these would be my top 3 alternatives. Now we got to go to the magic bag because I had 3 deal alternatives. So these are going to be, if you really don't want to spend money on your next running shoe or spend a lot of money, these are the ones I would go with. So first up, Asics Gel Nimbus here. So if you want something comfortable, cushioned, like the Skyward X, but leans a little bit slower, like the Nova Blast 4, Gel Nimbus is a good shoe. It's really soft. It's got some nice stability out here in the heel. This is the 25. You got to go for the 25 if you want the deal. It's a fun shoe for recovery miles. One of the best recovery shoes out there. It's just not my favorite for anything over an hour. So for me, this maxes out at about an hour, but with that soft feel, it's a better choice than the Nova Blast because the Nova Blast is a little bit on the firmer side. So if you don't want that firmer ride, I go for the Gel Nimbus. Now next up in here, another good deal shoe, Hoka Mach 5. So this is a little bit of a curveball. This is the lowest stack shoe out of everything here, but I did want to highlight an option if you don't need all the bulk and cushion of the Skyward X. And again, it's going to be super beneficial if you're running higher mileage and running a lot of runs over an hour. But for those of you who aren't, Mach 5 is one of the best deals right now for a shorter distance, faster running shoe. This is a really fun shoe, also really versatile. I've done everything from 9-minute miles to 5-minute miles in it. You can see I beat the heck out of it last summer. So if you want something that's not too soft, not too firm, but with a nice pop, nice bounce, great for the summer, that's the Mach 5 here. And then last, one of the best shoes for bigger runners, Saucony Endorphin Shift 3. You can find this thing on sale for $80 in some places. I have to warn you, it is very firm, but I highlighted it in my double day video with the Skyward X because the underfoot geometry here reminds me a lot of the Skyward X. Just take a look at these bottoms, both of these, and how curved they are. They look identical. So if you like that curved rocker feeling, you want that width, you want that support, but you don't want to pay $225. This is nearly a third of the price at $80. So if you want that same fun rolling experience and you like a firmer supportive feel,
That's the Shift 3, also a super versatile shoe. I've done recovery, I've done fast work in this. This guy's at about $350, I think, and still feels decent. So this would be my ultimate deal pick for those of you who are bigger runners who like that firm, structured, supportive ride. So there we have it, guys. So many great shoes on the market. So if you do not want to pay $225 for a shoe, don't get mad at me. I didn't price it at that price. Just don't buy the shoe. Buy one of these guys. There's tons of good shoes out there. So this is a winner for me. This is worth the $225, and that I think it's better than everything else cheaper than it. So it's on the throne. So until anything else comes along and knocks it off, this will be the one that I'm calling the best marathon training shoe out there. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching, and drop all your questions, comments below, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Kobe. One more thing, guys. I did want to say a quick word on the Boston 12 here, since it got knocked off the pedestal of best marathon training shoes. So this is still going to be a good option if you want something for speed workouts. I think marathon training workouts where you're really pushing faster than marathon race pace for a lot of people, and it is lighter on foot. So for long runs, it's still a good choice. But the Skyward X, where is that guy? Down here. Yeah, the Skyward X is just an overall more comfortable shoe. The upper is a lot more comfortable. The fit is a lot more comfortable. It's locked in like Davis Clark, versus the Boston 12 here. It's a little bit of a, definitely not as comfortable of a shoe, but still a really nice midsole experience here. So Skyward X takes everything that the Boston 12 is doing with the dual foam, with the plate, well, it's rods in here, but with that same reinforcement in the midsole. Skyward X takes that and just takes it to the next level. You got more weight, you got more cushion, more padding, more everything. So Boston 12, still a good shoe, but just not, it's not number one in my book anymore. All right, see you guys. Oh, one more thing. This also has the better outsole for wet weather. But see you guys tomorrow. One more thing, guys. They misspelled our company name on the memo. They got it right up top. Where is it? Yeah, they got it right up top here, and then down there, they called us Sewell Incorporated. Kanye, but some of the plaques still say Kane. All right. See you guys.